Hi, folks. Dorothy here. Let's talk about the full moon lunar eclipse that we have on September 7th. It's in the sign of Pisces. Let's grab the chart so you have something to look at besides my face. And there it is. Almost. Come on, pop up. Come on, Zoom. There we go. Sometimes it's a little tough, isn't it? All right, let's get started. So, September 7th, that full moon lunar eclipse is at 15 degrees of Pisces. Now, it is a meaningful one. Eclipses always are meaningful. We're halfway through the eclipse season. And we're halfway through Virgo since the new moon on August 23rd was at 0 Virgo. And the next new moon, which is a solar eclipse, I know you've heard this already, is on September 21st at 29 degrees of Virgo. So this full moon is smack dab in the middle of all of this. And so in the sign of Pisces, what it's bringing to the front, if you will, is the focus on our emotions, our intuition, our spiritual life. It the full moons always bring an awareness, a level of awareness to us, so we can see what is true for us. What is our truth? What is important for us to pay attention to? Because we all have our own focus, because Pisces is somewhere in everybody's chart and it's not all in the same place. So, this culmination of energies that has been going on for a little while just amplifies us to trust that intuition, to slow down, to do an inner look, if you will, and any of the things that need to come to the surface will bubble and come to the surface. And we want to work on those things, and that's absolutely important to do. It should be a natural process. If it isn't a natural process, then it could be those people in the environment around you. People are kind of pushing you in a sense, in whatever way that looks like, to really experience your emotions and your feelings so you can get them out on the table, if you will, and process and figure out what it is that you need to do. Because, the sun is in Virgo. Again, we're halfway in that Virgo, halfway between that each two new moons in Virgo, which is a rare occurrence. And having this eclipse in the middle and part of this whole thing is just fantastic because it just gives us these opportunities to really hone in on what we're paying attention to and the details of that, because we have two things that are Virgo, three things, honestly, that are Virgo, that's just keeping us honed in on the details. And when we have this full moon in the sign of Pisces, also an eclipse, it wants us to take things and be more soft, be allow that flow, allow a process to show up. So what does that mean for you? Having that Pisces is of course, Pisces being the last zodiac sign, and it reminds us to know that certain things are coming to a close, figure out what we are needing to surrender to, right? Because it's okay to stop fighting certain things. With two new moons in Virgo on either side of this full moon lunar eclipse, this eclipse is giving us an opportunity to see a bigger picture and to recognize what it is that we need to, in a way, surrender to, right? It's not about being a doormat, it's about taking your own personal experiences and to let go of the overwhelm and to be as sensitive as you can, but not to feel so oversensitive that your mind just has to shut off because you can't process because there's too many emotions. So this full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces is that invitation to lean into treating yourself better and lean into processing your emotions as opposed to holding them in, right? Full moons reflections. So we have that opportunity to sit down and quietly reflect. You can do it by journaling. And I have some journal prompts that I have this forecast written out. It's about 1,400 words. I don't read my forecast word for word. So you'll go there and read it and go in and have your journal, and it gives you some journal prompts so you're able to work with that. So I've been trying to do that this last year or so with my forecast, giving you usable ways to use this forecast. So get to my website, DorothyMorganAstrologer.com, and click on the blog and tab at the top, and you'll see it, and you'll see all the forecasts I have written out. And don't forget, share that with your friends, right? I appreciate it. So this eclipse is also part of a longer lunar gestation cycle. I know a lot of people talk about eclipse seasons being every 6 months. That is very true. And that is something that you can hold on to and keep an eye on, because we'll have new moons and full moons near each other. But the lunar gestation cycle is something even bigger that I love working with, especially with my membership platforms. If you need to know about that, go ahead and email me or message. I'll tell you all about it. And this lunar gestation cycle started on March 10th, 2024. So I just want you to pay attention, go back, if you will, and what initiated back then? March 10, 2024, that new moon, right? Was very close to the same degree as this one. It's like right around 14 degrees of Pisces. So I want you to go back to that point. What new seeds were you planting? What were you working on? What were you initiating? What were you inspired to do? And what was a dream that you had that was really nice and loud, and you've started working on it. Because 9 months after that was December 8, 2024, and the first quarter moon, which brings a point of taking more actions and more decisions, moving towards those hopes and dreams that we started in March of 2024. And now we're at 18 months later, it culminates to this eclipse. Super important. Full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces. All of those other two dates are really related to this. Perfect timing for us to really clear the deck, if you will. I always say that, but full moons are about that, being aware of what's working and what isn't, getting that extra stuff off of your plate, clearing the deck, whatever, and just allowing the thing that really has life to continue to move forward, right? So we can naturally process what was initiated back in March of 2024, which was 18 months before this lunar eclipse. Something very big, important. It helps us to clear space and move away from things that aren't important to us, even though sometimes we think they are. And having all this Virgo energy present in this eclipse chart, plenty of Pisces too. Saturn's back in Pisces now as well. So we're having an opportunity here to really look at what is our foundational pieces of our spiritual lives, our beliefs, and tapping into our emotions and how we care and nurture ourselves and have understanding and compassion for others. Okay. I'm not saying you're a doormat. I'm just saying this is something that is coming up that is very important for us to pay attention to with this eclipse. Yeah, I'm going to stop my share now. But there's always so much more. And you guys, I have a new class. I don't have it on the web yet. You're going to see this before it's on my website, but it's the astrology of support and self-care. So we're going to have a guide through each sign, and it's how you as an individual need to be heard, how you need that self-care. So how you want to be supported and self-cared. And it's the process through each of the zodiac signs. And I'm going to have a click to purchase thing. And I will also, over the next few months, do some live class workshops on it, because that really is a wonderful way. So there'll be two separate things. So I just wanted to announce that too. All right, so back to a little more. So how do we want to work with the Pisces energy? Here's some things that I think I could ask you as far as like just prompts to help you to reflect, right? So if you want to connect more deeply to your higher self, to the soul purpose, first off, I would ask you to look back into March 2024 and what was initiated back then. Really go through. This is why it's wonderful, and it's always so important for us to journal at new moons, because March 10, 2024 was a new moon, like I said, that's directly related to this lunar eclipse. And so, because it's come full circle, we have an opportunity here to work on that. And what was that push forward in December of 2024? Okay. So ask yourself those things, look back and see, really do some research on yourself because we can just say, okay, fine. And, within 2 or 3 days of hearing this, you'll just move on to whatever's next. But if you're feeling drawn to really digging in, this is how you can do it. Questions, other things. What habits or illusions or attachments are you ready to release? That's a really important thing to write down. And where am I resisting surrendering? Sometimes we have to surrender to a situation, and that way it just life moves along a little bit easier when we surrender to certain situations. Doesn't mean you don't fight for what you want. I'm not, no doormats. I've said that a few times today, but it's just answer some of these questions and they will show you where you need to make adjustments, where you need to surrender, where you need to let go of certain things. And since it's a full moon lunar eclipse, gives you directions on how to take your next steps because you're not sometimes just hands off the wheel is the next step. Sometimes rest and rejuvenation is a good next, excuse me, is a good next step, right? Because eclipses will carry that wisdom. All full moons do, but when it's an eclipse, we have that extra power of it. Brings a lot of focus into our lives, right? So we need to surrender. We need to trust that process and move through. So just quick note on September 21st, new moon solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo, super powerful for setting intentions around our daily health, our wellness, our practical things. Let me see if I have that chart with us. I'll share. I'll share the screen so you get to see the other one too. Let's see if I have it up. Takes a second. Terrific. Here it is. Yeah. No, no, that's just the full moon. Let me go back. I'm gonna find a new share. Here we are. And I'm gonna go back to the main screen because that was just the same eclipse. Here it is. Here's the one on the 21st. Just want to show you that one too. Chart and grid. Let's just use the declination chart. And there's the sun and the moon. They have to be near each other to have an eclipse, and this is exactly what we see right here. They're right next to each other. There it is at 29 degrees of Virgo on September 21st. So just after that is the equinox. It's the fall equinox here. Spring equinox for you guys in the southern hemisphere, especially those down in Australia. Uh, I would switch seasons with you. You guys don't have much of a winter, you know? I've seen it. It's like there's not even any snow. I don't know where you're at, but anyways, this is an interesting chart because we will be focusing a little bit more on how we're letting old patterns and habits go while we can simultaneously create some new ones. That's the 29th degree of Virgo. And there's so much more to talk about, but that's the next forecast because the grounding energy of the sun in Virgo is still with us with this full moon lunar eclipse. So make sure and take some time to write out your lists or write out your pros and cons. Really engage in that. Virgo is really happy. You don't have to be a Virgo to embody the energy while it is present in our lives. And that's how we want to use that. That's how I want you to use that. And I'm going to leave us right there. And come check out the blog, join all the things. I'm everywhere. And don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. This goes on to my membership platforms first. And you guys, thank you so much for your kind support. Blessings, everybody. Namaste.